Have you ever wondered why some people seem to attract success effortlessly while others struggle despite working twice as hard? The answer isn't found in luck, it's found in focus. Napoleon Hill, legendary author of Think and Grow Rich, said it best, "What you focus on, you attract." And that isn't just a catchy phrase, it's a truth that has shaped empires, built fortunes, and transformed ordinary people into legends. Every thought you hold in your mind, every image you allow to take root in your imagination is a seed that grows into reality. Focus on fear, and fear will grow. Focus on failure, and you'll trip before you even start. But focus on purpose, on progress, on power, and suddenly the world begins to shift in your favor. This isn't magic, it's mindset. This is the law of attraction backed by the law of action. Today, I'm going to remind you that your attention is your greatest asset. What you dwell on, you magnify. What you obsess over, you create. So choose wisely, focus fiercely, because what you focus on, you will attract. Your mind is a magnet. Whatever you consistently think about, feel deeply, and imagine vividly, you begin to attract into your life. This idea, deeply rooted in the teachings of Napoleon Hill, is more than motivational jargon. It's a powerful psychological and spiritual law. Every single thought you entertain carries a certain frequency. Just like a magnet attracts objects that are within its magnetic field, your mind attracts experiences, people, opportunities, and even obstacles that match the dominant frequency of your thoughts. What you dwell on mentally, you begin to shape physically. This is not about wishful thinking. This is about intentional mental discipline, the ability to train your focus like a laser beam, cutting through distractions, fears, and doubts, and locking onto a vision so strong that the universe begins to realign around it. The truth is, most people underestimate the power of thought. They allow their minds to drift into worry, anger, fear, and comparison, not realizing that by doing so, they are magnetizing more of those very experiences. Napoleon Hill emphasized that thoughts are things, actual forces that shape our world. The problem is, many people allow their thoughts to become the reflection of their current reality instead of the blueprint of the future they desire. They look around at what they don't want and they focus on it. They talk about it, complain about it, and obsess over it. In doing so, they give life to those undesirable outcomes. The more attention they give to lack, the more lack grows. The more they talk about failure, the more failure finds them, because what you focus on, you attract. But when you start to become conscious of your thoughts, when you realize that you are not the victim of your circumstances, but the architect of your mindset, everything begins to shift. You realize you have the power to choose your focus. You can decide what dominates your inner world. You can condition your mind to focus on abundance, growth, opportunity, and gratitude. When that shift happens, your magnetic field changes. People who resonate with that new frequency begin to show up in your life. Ideas start flowing. Solutions begin to reveal themselves. Your energy becomes attractive, not just metaphorically, but literally. People feel they are drawn to the strength of your conviction, to the clarity of your purpose. Doors start opening because your inner world is aligned with the reality you're creating. This isn't just spiritual philosophy, it's neuroscience. The brain has a powerful filtering system called the reticular activating system, RS. It works like a mental spotlight, highlighting the information that aligns with what you consistently focus on. If you're always thinking about problems, your brain becomes wired to find more problems. If you're focused on opportunities, your RS begins filtering the world for possibilities. That's why two people can walk into the same room and experience completely different realities, because what they notice, interpret, and act on depends entirely on what they're mentally focused on. Every morning you wake up, you have a choice to let your thoughts be shaped by your environment or to shape your environment through the power of your thoughts. When you understand that your mind is a magnet, you stop wasting time on distractions. You stop complaining. You stop blaming. You start building. You start focusing on what you want to grow, and you pour your energy into it. Every thought becomes intentional. Every emotion becomes fuel. Every setback becomes a signal to realign your focus. Your life right now is a reflection of the thoughts you've allowed to take root in the past. Your future will be shaped by the thoughts you choose from this moment forward. The magnetic power of your mind is always active. It's just a matter of whether it's working for you or against you. Are you using your focus to attract what you desire or to reinforce what you fear? That's the question you must answer if you want to take control of your life. Because the moment you begin to take control of your focus, you begin to take control of your results. Most people go through life unconsciously reacting to their circumstances. But successful people, those who live with purpose and intention, understand that their focus is their superpower. They know that what they focus on, they strengthen. They know that every time they visualize their goals, feel the emotions of success, and take aligned action, they are pulling those goals closer to reality. This is not about fantasizing. It's about programming your subconscious mind to believe in your vision so deeply that you start making decisions, taking actions, and creating habits that align with it. And when that happens, the world responds. You've probably heard the phrase, like attracts like. That's not just a poetic saying, it's a universal principle. Your inner state sets the tone for what you attract. If your thoughts are full of doubt, anger, or fear, you will begin to notice more things that reinforce those emotions. But if your thoughts are filled with courage, faith, and clarity, you will start drawing in opportunities that match that mental atmosphere. It's like tuning a radio. When you dial into a certain frequency, you hear the station that matches. Your mind works the same way. If you want to hear the music of success, you must tune into the mindset of success. Everything begins in the mind. Before the first brick is laid, before the first call is made, before the first dollar is earned, there is a thought. That thought becomes a belief. That belief becomes a focus. And that focus begins to shape your behavior, your habits, your relationships, and ultimately your life. It all begins with thought. So guard your thoughts fiercely. Direct your focus intentionally. Because your mind is a magnet. It is either attracting what you desire or what you dread, and you are the one holding the controls. Clarity of focus determines the power of attraction. In a world filled with noise, distraction, and constant movement, clarity is rare. But it is also priceless. When you are clear on what you want, what you believe, and what you are committed to, you become unstoppable. Clarity is the cutting edge of focus. It sharpens your vision, removes hesitation, and directs your energy with laser precision. Without clarity, focus is scattered. Without clarity, your efforts are diluted. But when your mind is locked onto a clear purpose, a specific goal, and a well-defined vision, you begin to pull the world into alignment with your desires. Most people never take the time to get clear. They live reactively, chasing what's urgent instead of what's important, getting pulled by circumstances instead of led by vision. They want success, but they can't define it. They want freedom, but they don't know what it looks like. They want happiness, but they haven't stopped to ask what truly makes them come alive. And so their focus becomes fragmented, moving from one thing to another, chasing trends, influenced by opinions, confused by contradictions. But clarity changes everything. It's the foundation of meaningful focus. When you become clear, your focus deepens, and when your focus deepens, your power multiplies. Clarity starts with asking the right questions. What do you want? Why do you want it? What are you willing to do to get it? Who do you need to become in the process? These questions are simple, but answering them with honesty takes courage. Most avoid these questions because they know the answers will demand change. Clarity requires confronting your doubts, fears, and excuses. It forces you to strip away everything that isn't aligned with your purpose. But once you commit to clarity, your focus becomes your guide, and the distractions that once controlled you start losing their power. The mind, when left unfocused, is chaotic, wanders, overthinks, and magnifies problems. But when it becomes clear and focused, it channels energy like a beam of sunlight through a magnifying glass, igniting whatever it's aimed at. Napoleon Hill spoke of this with great intensity. He knew that every great achievement began with a clear, definite purpose, not a vague wish, not a general desire, but a specific burning intention that consumed the mind and directed all thoughts and actions toward its fulfillment. When that kind of clarity is achieved, it activates the power of attraction. You begin to draw resources, ideas, people, and events that mirror your internal commitment. The universe doesn't respond to confusion, it responds to clarity. When your intentions are foggy, your results are inconsistent. But when your intentions are sharp, your results become inevitable. Clarity allows you to filter out what doesn't matter. You stop wasting time on what's popular and focus on what's purposeful. You stop chasing validation and start building value. Every action becomes aligned with your core direction. Every step you take begins to move you forward with greater speed and confidence. This is the power of aligned focus born from clarity. Even your self-image transforms when you gain clarity. When you know what you stand for and where you're going, your confidence grows. You stop seeking approval because your identity is no longer shaped by the opinions of others. It is shaped by the vision you carry inside you. And that vision, held with clarity and focus, becomes magnetic. Others feel it. They are drawn to your certainty. They want to support you, follow you, collaborate with you, not because you're louder, but because you're clearer. In a world filled with confusion, clarity becomes power. Clarity also eliminates friction. Decisions become easier. You don't waste energy on hesitation or overthinking. You know what fits and what doesn't. You can say no without guilt and yes without fear. This mental clarity frees up space for creativity, for bold action, for deeper commitment. It's not about having everything figured out. It's about knowing what direction you're heading in and refusing to be pulled off course by temporary distractions or emotional turbulence. Your goals must be clear, not just in words, but in imagery, emotion, and meaning. You must be able to see them in your mind, feel them in your heart, and believe in them with conviction. Write them down, speak them daily, visualize them vividly. The more you reinforce that clarity, the more you align your subconscious mind to support it. You begin to notice opportunities you once overlooked. You start creating momentum where there was once hesitation. Your belief system shifts, and your actions follow. Even in adversity, clarity keeps you grounded. When setbacks come, and they always do, clarity reminds you of your purpose. It helps you rise above the noise of fear and self-doubt. It gives you direction when everything around you feels uncertain. People with clarity don't crumble under pressure. They adapt, they pivot, and they keep moving because their focus is built on a solid foundation. They don't allow temporary failures to rewrite their permanent identity. Their clarity gives them resilience. The mistake many people make is thinking they can focus without clarity. They think motivation will carry them, but motivation fades, emotion shifts. What sustains you is clarity, knowing why you're doing what you're doing, and keeping that vision alive in your mind every single day. Clarity makes your focus consistent, and consistent focus creates results. This is how you begin to attract success, not through blind hustle, but through intentional focus built on a clear purpose. The human mind is a goal-seeking mechanism. It thrives when it has a clear target. Without that target, it spins, it doubts, it creates resistance. But give the mind a clear goal and a meaningful reason, and it becomes a force of nature. Clarity gives your subconscious a roadmap. It programs your inner world to begin searching for answers, finding patterns, and solving problems that lead to the realization of that vision. This is why Napoleon Hill insisted on having a clear chief aim, because without it, the mind wanders. But with it, the mind becomes a magnet. You must protect your clarity. You must renew it. You must return to it daily. Write your vision, speak your affirmations, visualize your success. Remind yourself who you are and what you are building. Clarity is not something you achieve once and forget. It's something you cultivate. Just like focus, it can fade if not maintained. But when nurtured, it becomes your most powerful ally. It becomes the foundation of your discipline, your confidence, and your momentum. Clarity empowers you to focus on what truly matters, and that focused energy begins to create results that feel like alignment, flow, and attraction. Energy flows where attention goes. This truth governs every aspect of your life. Whatever you consistently give your attention to, whether consciously or unconsciously, grows, expands, and begins to shape your reality. It's one of the core principles behind both ancient wisdom and modern psychology. Napoleon Hill understood this deeply. He taught that sustained attention toward a definite chief aim would unlock the door to abundance, success, and fulfillment. The human mind, by its very nature, is a creative engine. It builds, amplifies, and attracts whatever it continues to observe, engage with, and emotionally invest in. Your energy is not random. It is directed by your attention, and where your attention goes, your life follows. Many people don't realize they're giving their energy away. They think they're just scrolling, just venting, just worrying a little, but what they're really doing is feeding their focus into something that does not serve them. Worry, anxiety, resentment, envy, these are more than just emotions. They are powerful signals of where attention is being placed, and wherever that attention rests, energy flows. So when you fixate on your fears, you're feeding them. When you obsess over problems, you're strengthening them. The more you dwell on what you don't want, the more you build the internal momentum to create more of it. This is why attention is one of your most valuable currencies. What you give attention to, you energize. What you energize, you attract. Energy isn't just about physical movement or enthusiasm. It's the invisible current of your intentions, emotions, and thoughts. It flows in the direction you're mentally pointed, even when your body stays still. If your mind is focused on lack, your energy contracts. If it's focused on growth, your energy expands. You felt it before. When you're locked in on a goal that excites you, your whole being comes alive. You start waking up with more drive. You become more alert, more resourceful. That's not random. It's the result of aligned attention. You've aligned your mental energy with something that gives you purpose, and now that energy flows with strength. Attention is the steering wheel of your life. It decides where your energy will go. But most people don't hold the wheel firmly. They let distractions, fears, and external demands grab their focus and pull them in every direction. As a result, their energy gets scattered. They feel drained, overwhelmed, confused, not because they don't have energy, but because they've leaked it everywhere. Every moment of attention you give to something unworthy of your goals is energy you'll never get back. Every thought you feed that takes you further from your vision is a withdrawal from your own potential. Focus is not just about productivity, it's about power conservation. The more focused your attention, the more potent your energy. That's why successful people are obsessively intentional with their attention. They don't just think positively, they think purposefully. They know that every minute of focused attention compounds. Every time they visualize their success, review their goals, or immerse themselves in learning, they are channeling energy toward growth. They are directing their internal state to match their external intention. And that internal state is what creates external results. You cannot outperform your dominant focus. You cannot attract something you're not aligned with mentally. Your results are always a reflection of where your energy has been invested over time. Even your emotions are indicators of attention. When you feel inspired, grateful, or motivated, it's because your attention is aligned with your purpose or your progress. When you feel stuck, tired, or anxious, it's often because your attention is stuck in the past, worried about the future, or tangled in things outside your control. By bringing your focus back to what you can influence, you begin to reclaim your energy. This is why practices like mindfulness, journaling, and visualization are so powerful. They train your attention. They teach your mind to return to what matters, to ignore the noise, to stay grounded in intention. Napoleon Hill wrote that whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. But that achievement doesn't come from momentary motivation. It comes from sustained attention, from giving your energy to the same vision day after day until it begins to shape your identity. When your identity aligns with your goal, you begin to make decisions differently. You stop hesitating. You stop seeking validation. You move with confidence, not because you have all the answers, but because your energy is locked in. You know where you're going, and you're willing to give your full attention to it. every single day. This principle also applies to relationships, finances, health, and creativity. If you want deeper relationships, give them focused attention. Be present. Listen. Engage. Where your attention goes, connection grows. If you want better health, focus your attention on habits that support it. Move with purpose. Eat with awareness. Rest with intention. If you want financial growth, direct your attention toward learning, building, creating, and managing, not worrying. Energy flows where attention goes, so your results are not determined just by what you do, but by where you focus. It's not about intensity for a moment, it's about consistency over time. Repeated focus builds internal momentum. It programs your subconscious mind to start filtering reality through a different lens. You begin to notice new patterns, new opportunities, new pathways, not because the world has changed, but because your focus has. Your energy has shifted, and now you're attracting experiences that match that shift. This is how transformation happens, not all at once, but through repeated focused energy directed toward a clear intention. Every time you catch yourself drifting, worrying, comparing, pause and redirect. Ask yourself, is this where I want my energy to go? Is this thought building me or draining me? Is this focus aligned with the person I'm becoming? These questions bring your attention back under your control. They remind you that your focus is a choice. And every time you choose wisely, you strengthen your ability to hold that focus longer. Over time, this becomes your new default. Not reactive but intentional. Not scattered but centered. Not consumed by what's wrong, but committed to what's possible. Your energy is sacred. It is your creative force. Where you place it shapes your reality. The world may try to distract you. Circumstances may try to shake you. But if you learn to control your attention, you gain the power to control your outcomes. The greatest achievers, the most fulfilled creators, the strongest leaders, they all mastered their attention. They refused to let their energy be wasted on anything that didn't serve their highest vision. And because of that, they built legacies not from force, but from focus. They understood that attention is the seed, energy is the water, and results are the fruit. Everything begins with where your mind rests. Everything begins with what you choose to look at, think about, and invest your energy into. Energy flows where attention goes.